What's up, Nerf Herders? Hope you're all doing well out there and having a great day. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode 3 is here, and Baron Zemo is here, and we've been waiting for Zemo and very excited for Zemo, and we got a lot of Zemo in this episode, so we're going to give a full breakdown in our thoughts with where we're at in this, because there was a lot happening in this episode. We bounced around in so many different places, which seemed appropriate, because when we got introduced to Zemo in Civil War, we were all over the damn place in that movie, so we went to a lot of spots in this here. Before we jump into the breakdown, though, make sure you hit that subscribe button, click the bell for notifications, give the video a thumbs up, comment down below. Want to know your thoughts on this episode here, because they are continuing to push this and they are not wasting a second of screen time. We kick right off where we left off in the last episode. Sam and Bucky show up to talk with Zemo, and Bucky decides to go in alone because he knows Zemo, because they've got a history, and this is where we pick up.
Yeah, dude, that was a super intense beginning when he goes in the cell and Zemo starts reciting the words.
Immediately.
That, like, basically controlled Winter Soldier.
He's like, I just want to play with this and see what happens.
I love this dude. The dude who plays Zemo just kills it, man. He's just like such a maniacal, like, mind game motherfucker, you know?
Yeah, dude. And I love that they cued his music right when they showed him too, that haunting kind of menacing music that they gave him through Civil War. I love that they brought that back for this, because it just plays so well into what his character and mind games are. Oh, it was perfect, dude.
It was cool because they really did kind of make you think the whole episode, like, is Winter Soldier still really deep down in Bucky's, mind? And when can he come to the surface? Because you don't know, man. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know what was planted years ago and what could just come up at any moment and just snap.
Yeah, and they play with that a little bit throughout this episode, which was kind of fun, just to let that thread dangle there. And, Bucky ends the conversation. They don't really show you what happens in there. It's very subtle. Mm-hmm. And when Bucky catches back up with Sam, Bucky's kind of running you through all these hypothetical situations, and then Zemo shows up because he basically laid the groundwork to get Zemo out of there and break him out. So now Zemo, proposed villain who could be playing his cards still, but it was kind of neat to see them team up, man. Like, he kept it straight and teamed up, and they worked together throughout this episode.
Yeah, totally. I like that they kind of gave you a little bit more background into Zemo, like his royalty, his background. It's kind of funny when he gets out. It's just like, oh, like, you've been rich this whole time, And then he's got a private jet. He's got everything. Right,
dude. And it was cool, too, because when he gets into the car and he grabs the mask, which we saw in the trailer, we all want to see the mask and stuff. And there's that quick moment where they gave you just enough where he's kind of recollecting on that, just like there's a history here. And there's a story to be said about where this mask kind of comes into play. But that was it. He throws it in the duffel bag and just carries on. And he realizes that in order to find out what's going on with this super soldier serum and to start, you can't go high. We got to start mid-tier, and we're going to work our way up. So they find themselves in Madripoor to go track down somebody to help get to the next level and kind of work through these building blocks to find out what's going on. And, dude, as soon as it showed up, too, I'm just like, oh, it's Hong Kong. The first thing I thought, because of all the lights, I'm thinking Godzilla versus Kong, But,
dude, it was cool, though, man, because you get that, like, sleazy dive bar, underground, like, sinister shit going on.
Right.
All these gangsters are surrounding. Everyone's got guns and shit. It's so cool. But, like, I love, especially this part when they go into the bar and they all have to, like, play their own persona, to kind of infiltrate this underground, network of criminals, basically.
Right. And what was interesting about that, too, is that Bucky went in as the Winter Soldier because these people are aware of who he is.
Yeah, they know his ass, dude.
They're recognizing him. They understand it. And Zemo tells him straight up, dude, like, when I say it's time, soldier, like, you better be ready to comply. And I was just like, damn, dude. And when it's time, dude, he tells him, he's just like, do your thing. And you see Bucky kind of turn on that Winter Soldier mode for a second. Sam's got to look at him and just be like, you good, dude? It's like, yeah. And you could tell it took a toll on him a little bit, but he had it under control,
Yeah, at first, that fight sequence was awesome, by the way.
Sick,
that
dude.
was probably my favorite fight sequence of the series so far, third episode in, because it was a little bit more intimate. It was a little bit more hand-to-hand combat. Didn't rely so much on, like, different camera tricks and wires and, things with that. I mean, it was just a straight combat, sequence. And I loved it. And in the middle of it, I just immediately was like, oh, shit, is he, like, Winter Soldier mode, or is he still playing, like, the character, right?
Right.
And so then when he like, chills out and he's holding the dude by the throat and they're like, okay, she'll see you now. And they get invited upstairs. Then when Sam's like, you good? I was just like, okay, that like got me going for a second,
Yeah, no, they played that well, dude, and they get their ticket to go see Selby, who's kind of this higher tier person that nobody touches, but they get granted access to go see, and things get a little intense. Sam gets a phone call from his sister, and immediately she's on it, just like answer that call, put it on speakerphone, and he's handling himself pretty well with it, trying to manipulate it to fit and sound powerful, but then right at the end, she calls him out by Sam, dude, and that's when all hell kind of starts to break loose.
Yeah, but then she gets fucking gadded up, dude.
Dude, out of nowhere.
That was so cool, dude. And that just kind of this episode reminded me the most of the Winter Soldier movie. It had just that total spy, feel to it, but like it kind of reminded me of the Winter Soldier because I mean, he was like, the whole movie he's kind of just hiding, waiting out, striking at any moment. And then this happens. It was just like so out of nowhere.
Well, and then it goes like John Wick mode because like Selby gets taken out and it's just like alert. And you see them walking out, dude, and just everybody's getting the alert and everyone's looking at him like you're the target. And it was just like,
on, dude. Everyone's straight cocking their guns, getting ready to fuck shit up, dude. That was such a cool sequence. I was just like, oh shit, it's on, dude.
Yeah, and they know they're in trouble, dude. Like they like, oh shit, man, like Sam has nothing to defend himself. Like Bucky can probably hold his own a little bit in this moment. Zemo kind of disappears for a second. And then Sharon Carter shows up out of nowhere. And I loved it because she was integral and it was a great moment. This is the only moment though in this series so far where I was like, man, we talk about the convenient things coming up and this was a huge convenience. Because who knows that she's there to begin with, and she happened to just be there at the right time in the right place, knowing that they were there. It's like if she's not there, you're all dead now. So I feel like there was a little bit of like you got to suspend disbelief to kind of get on board with where they were pushing the plot for that there. But it's Marvel, so I feel like they get a little bit more of a forgiveness for those things. But it sucks. It sucks that there's that convenience thing there.
Yeah, it does. It's kind of lame that they have to shoehorn that in sometimes to make it fit. If them I don't think it was necessary. I did like it though. I mean, she's a badass. That whole fight sequence on the shipping yard with all the containers, that was fucking awesome. Yeah. And it seems like she's going to play a bigger role because when she exits, she's like, okay, we got to talk about some stuff, and she gets in the car with the other lady and drives away. So I think they're going to use her more. But it did seem like kind of that convenient, like Superman just came out of nowhere and saved your ass.
Right. I could have done with them handling themselves, maybe. Just like, okay, you kind of had control to where you guys maybe would have been okay. Not where if she's not there, you're dead. Like, maybe she's just like that little tipping point, not the full-blown savior. So I was just like, okay, I'll deal with it. And then she's got information that kind of pushes where they're looking to go to and brings them over into kind of like the crate yard there with everything, gets the location, sends them into it, and then we find out that there's legit somebody who's working the super soldier serum, and it was a really interesting thing how they did this too, because he's like, I was integral, I was a god, and then snap, I got dusted, and I came back, and these underground people continued to fund me. I thought that was so cool how that tied in.
We talked about this in the last few episodes that Marvel's done such a awesome job incorporating the blip into all of this and showing how it's affected all of these people's individual lives. And this is just another part, dude. It's so cool that this dude was basically, he was with Hydra and then he got recruited by the CIA. So he's basically doing this for the United States. And then the blip happens and his program gets shut down. He wakes up 5 years later and he has nothing to show for it.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just so cool. It's like, okay, that's a real life thing that happened to this dude. And then, it makes sense that this rogue, terrorist cell is going to pick him up and be like, hey, like, we'll pay you to continue your work.
Exactly, dude. And that's why I loved how they started the episode off when they're just like, hey, here's this organization that's been created to help people adapt back into their families and society and stuff. It's like, God, dude, because that's the kind of stuff we'd see happening, dude. So it's like, you can't ignore it. I love that dude, Thanos left his mark, dude. You can't erase what Thanos did. It's just so perfect, dude. Yep. And this dude is like, I created it. There's 20 of these out there. She came in, stole them all from the Flag Smashers, are like the leader of them. So we know that there's 20 of these things that are floating around. We don't know if there's 20 super soldiers yet, but there's 20 of these vials out there that people could have potentially taken at this point. They're trying to get more information out of this guy, and Sharon Carter's out there wrecking house, dude. Like you said, like, let's talk about that sequence, because she was just crushing people, dude.
Dude, that was like John Wick 2.0, bro.
Yeah.
The choreography of that was just flawless, man. How she's just kind of going in and out of those containers in that shipping area. Like, I don't know. It just felt like you were in Call of Duty, you know?
Yeah.
And she's just blasting fools. She's doing all sorts of shit like jujitsu, you know, stabbing people, shooting them in the face. Like, it was brutal, man. It wasn't like just a normal thing. I mean, it was like brutal fucking fight, you know?
Yeah, and shot really well, because you could tell she was doing her own stunts, at least for the majority of that. And I loved how it kind of started off with the hand-to-hand stuff where she was just disarming people, and you're like, okay, they're going to keep it chill. And then she's capping people, chucking knives into people. It just like escalated so quick.
Dude, stabs the dude right in the middle of his chest, and then shoots him point blank. Then the other dude comes around, he tips his head around the corner, she shoots him in the face. I was like, oh my god, dude.
Like,
Marvel
so good.
Full fucking crazy on this. But that was awesome. And it, you know, it really kept the pacing well, because, you know, when they're interviewing the scientist, it's kind of like, okay, you're getting that little bit of a slow, you know, build up, but then it goes right back to the action and back and forth. And then she basically is like, all right, it's time to get the fuck out of here, because like we're overwhelmed by these fuckers right now.
Right, dude. And then Zemo just boom, dude, just caps the scientist off, dude, like it's nothing. And then a rocket launcher gets blown into the building, dude, and you're just like, oh my god, dude. And they all kind of get out. Zemo is like takes off, dude. He's the first one out of there, and now it's like, okay, he planned his escape. He knows what he's doing with everything. Bucky, Sharon, Sam get out. They kind of have to take hiding for a second. And then Zemo, still holding good to his word, dude, like pops on the mask. There's that badass moment, dude. He just walks up, pops the gas line, dude, blows everything out, and then shows up and picks him up in a car, dude. Like, he held true to his word to like still help them out. I was like, this is pretty cool how they're handling this.
That was super interesting, dude, considering he's like a Nazi Hydra psychopath mega villain.
Yeah.
And he's still like cool with Bucky and Sam. It was like interesting, you know. It was an interesting moment for him to like keep true to his word and not just go off and do his own thing, because as soon as he put the mask on, I was like, oh shit, all right, it's on, dude. Like, he's just gonna go wreak havoc, and then he's gonna get the fuck out of here, dude.
Exactly,
and go do his own thing, you know. Like, I thought maybe he would even just go try to pursue the vials of the super serum himself, so he can just do his own thing. But no, he goes back, he picks up Bucky and Sam, and ready to rock, you know?
Yep, exactly, dude. And we kind of leave from that there. They get back on the plane. Sharon hangs tight. We see her, like we had said earlier, gets in the car, so we know that's going to lead off to something. They end up getting to this other building to go talk to the next person now to kind of move this on. Bucky notices something's a little bit off, kind of follows this little treasure trail real quick. And I thought it was Okoye at first. It's not. I'm never going to remember who this character's name is, but she's obviously integral, you know, to Wakanda. She's a huge main player, probably next to Okoye, the next, you know, big person in line. And she kind of pops in and she's like, I'm here for Zemo. So she knows what's going on. She's been tracing them now, and they kind of left that open. So that'll be interesting to see where that goes into the next episode now.
Yeah, it was a great way to like end it. You know, it kind of makes you wonder, okay, does Zemo have like a bounty on his head, you know, with what happened with the Wakanda, you know, people and everything.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting to kind of see how that plays out, and if, you know, Falcon and Winter Soldier, whose side are they going to take, right? Because, I mean, they need to be loyal to Wakanda, they need to be loyal to the Avengers, but at the same time, they need Zemo. So he's kind of like their only way to get to this super serum.
Yep, that was, and I was not expecting to see anybody out of Wakanda in this, so that was kind of a crazy tie-in, and another thing, like we've said, dude, with everything we've talked about from WandaVision and through this, they are doing such a good job not making this feel like it's its own isolated, separate thing. It is very engrossed and integrated into the greater MCU, and it feels like it, dude. It's a spectacle as you're watching it, and you don't feel separated at all. I think it's perfect, this is kind of, you know, the main thread through this was following their story, but we did get a couple of little pickup things here. We saw John Walker and his guy kind of drop back in to where they're at the facility where Zemo is being held. Now we know that they're kind of going to be on the tail of Bucky and Sam, because immediately he's like, yep, I think they busted them out. So they left that thread dangling there. Where do you think this is going with this John Walker guy?
I think he's just going to continue to ride the coattails of what Falcon and Winter Soldier, but I think it's going to be a little bit, he's going to go off the rails. And I mean, Bucky even says it. He's going to take that shield from him.
Yeah, dude.
He's taking it back, man. So I think there's going to be something. I don't know what. I think John Walker has some skeletons in his closet that we don't know about that might come to light, that might strip him of his services of Cap. Or, I mean, something's going to happen. You know what I mean? I don't think he's going to be holding the mantle much longer.
Yep, agree, dude, because we got 3 episodes and stuff's moving now. Stuff's moving. And the other thread that they kind of went back to that was just, just to kind of keep the story moving was with the Flag Smashers. We learned a little bit more about really what they are doing, and you can tell that there's good intention, so to speak, but it's one of those misunderstood things where they're willing to do evil shit to do the greater good in a sense. And you kind of saw that dynamic when she's having that conversation with kind of the right-hand man guy, and it's just like, hey, like, we're doing this to help these people, blah, blah, blah. But after the situation happens, he's like, oh my God, dude, there were still people in there. She's like, sometimes that's what you got to do, dude,
Yep, sets off the car bomb, kills innocent people, and she's like, this is the only way they can communicate, This is the only thing they know is violence, so we have to use that.
Yep.
Real quick, I before we wrap this up, did you get the X-Men Easter eggs in this episode?
So I noticed the X on that gate there. So that was
cool.
Yeah, it was the only thing I picked up on.
Okay, so the Brass Monkey, the bar that they were in when they were in Madripoor.
Yes, I saw that too.
That is a referenced bar in X-Men with Wolverine. So
okay.
He frequents that bar, and so it's an interesting thing that they put that little X Easter egg in there that, okay, you're clearly putting something with the X-Men universe into this series.
Dude, cool. Because they when they showed that, I was like, there's relevance to this because they made it very prominent. Like, we want you to see this real quick. And I didn't look into it before, but that's awesome, dude. What a cool little tie-in then.
Yeah, so I when they said Brass Monkey, I was like, wait a minute, I know I've heard that before. And then I went back and looked, and it was like there was an old New Mutants, storyline that had that involved. So,
damn, that's sick,
if anything, it's an Easter egg. But I mean, they're teasing the X-Men. They are.
Planting seeds, dude.
Is happening with this. So
yeah, planting seeds, man. That's all you got to do. That's all Marvel has to do is plant little seeds, and they'll come back to that 5 years later, dude, and be like, oh look, we'll pluck this out. I mean, that's how well that they put this stuff together, dude. They're killing it. We got 3 episodes left. It's going to be exciting. We're gonna wrap this video up here, and thoughts on this here, dude? Are these 3 episodes? Where's the best? Where's the worst? Are you feeling good with all 3?
I'm happy with it. I mean, I'll be honest, it's about what I expected, and I think it's keeping true to what they need to do with these characters.
Hell yeah, dude!
I think it's great. I mean, it's entertaining. It's been fun, so I'm in for it.
Hell yeah. Cool. I'm with you 100%. This feels good. It feels Marvel. It feels exactly like what we needed, man. WandaVision, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier is crushing ass. And that will do it for today, guys. We will definitely be back next week to talk about episode 4. Plenty more videos on the way. Again, please hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed the content today. And leave some comments down below. We would love to hear your thoughts about where we're going in the Marvel Universe with everything here. I think there's going to be a lot of excitement to come in these last couple of episodes. And we'll be here to talk about them. So we will see you all in the next video.